Hello, everyone. I just wanted to thank you so much for joining me today on our Coffee Talk series. My name is Madison, and I'm the marketing coordinator here at the Business Software Center. And today we're going to go ahead and review how to improve remote work and life balance. If you ever need to get in contact with us, you can follow us on social media. We are on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. You can communicate with us using the hashtag CoffeeTalkTBSC, or if you ever need to email me, you can see my email on the screen. It's info@businesssoftwarecenter.com. So we're just going to go ahead and get into this. Just a reminder, our Q&A is open on the right-hand side. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them on the right-hand side, and I'll get to them at the end of my presentation. My presentation will be about 10 minutes long, so give us some time for questions at the end. So 2020 did see some changes with remote working, and even though there were already projections of remote working increase of cloud software, with quarantine and isolation with COVID, there was definitely just a surplus of remote working seen, and this was across every industry. No industry was really left behind when it came to switching to remote work. We saw a lot of people switch even in retail, education, a lot of different industries. And you can see here in this graph that I have, it says, what percentage of your work time do you spend working remotely? And 57% of respondents said 100% of the time. So that's pretty interesting data that we've collected here. But moving on to the new year in 2021, remote working is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. And 58.25% of companies plan to combine remote work and in office in the future, whether that's working 4 days in the office, 1 day at home, or somewhere in between. Remote working has definitely infiltrated, and it's inspired a lot of us to really find a different way of working. We don't just have to be in the office to get things done. But what exactly is the problem with remote working? Well, an interesting study from Microsoft, specifically focusing on the COVID-19 remote workforce, found that 45% of workers are feeling the burnout. And this could be because of various things. A lot of employees were kind of thrown into remote working. There wasn't really much prep before the change. And even though humans are adaptable, sometimes it just takes us a little bit to learn a new routine and get into a new way of things. But here it's saying about burnout. Now, what exactly is burnout? It is a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by excessive and prolonged stress. So that's burnout. You can kind of see the picture there, the infographic, just feeling totally exhausted. But I do have a quick slide here about the signs of burnout. You can see signs are alienation from work-related activities. So just people feeling really stressed and frustrated, and so they don't participate in things. They might have cynical ways of talking to people or expressing themselves, and they may remain emotionally distant. Maybe you're close to one of your work colleagues and you see them pulling away. Perhaps it's a sign of burnout. Now, there are physical symptoms of burnout, and that leads to headaches and stomach aches, or even intestinal issues. This is all because of the long periods of stress that are put onto the body. There is the emotional exhaustion as well, and that includes just feeling drained, not being able to get out of bed in the morning or even go to work or make it to meetings on time. In the case of remote working, this might manifest being late to work meetings, not wanting to be on the video chat, or just not chatting in the text and really communicating with other people. And another sign of burnout is reduced performance. So, basically just gave a couple different examples of that as well. So you could either analyze this for yourself and say, what, I'm experiencing burnout, but maybe you're noticing this with your fellow colleagues. The whole point of me putting this together is to really help you prevent burnout. So here are my top 3 tips to prevent burnout and help improve your remote work-life balance. So if this is you, just stay tuned. So to help you combat burnout, I think it's really essential to really improve your work-life balance. A lot of us who are working from home and we're kind of thrown into remote work, some of us don't have home offices. We have to work from our kitchens, or we have, children at home. And so it's become really hard to kind of separate the two. But I'm just going to give you some tips on how to make it a bit easier. So tip number one, and these all may seem like no-brainers, but sometimes we might know how to solve a problem, but we don't necessarily know the actual steps or maybe alternative solutions on how to get it done. So tip number one is learn how to prioritize. And so one tip I have is make to-do lists. Put tasks in order from most to least important, and you can set milestones to reach. So say you're the kind of person that likes to have very tedious tasks lists. This might be great for you. Maybe you're somebody who doesn't like to write things down. Perhaps maybe just focusing on one milestone to reach through the day would be better for you to help you prioritize what you need to get done. Now, this can be done day by day, week by week, whatever works best for you. I would say certainly try to wake up in the morning and maybe take 5-10 minutes during the workday, earlier on in your workday to really schedule, okay, what needs to be done, what's important today. Now, there are task applications in Teams that help you combine all your planners and to-do tasks and pairs teams and personal to-dos with advanced collaboration tools. So essentially what that means is you can use Microsoft Teams to really help you out with a lot of this, whether it comes to creating the to-do list or scheduling, for instance, or even just scheduling a time to say, okay, I plan on reaching my milestone throughout the day at this time. And a really good thing about learning how to prioritize is it holds yourself accountable. Now that we're not in the work atmosphere, when we're not in the office, we don't really feel this sense of urgency or maybe this sense of competition as we might have felt before. Now that we're online, we're kind of detached from a lot of what makes the office. And so holding yourself accountable is something that you kind of need to start doing with remote working. And whenever you start holding yourself accountable and achieving these tasks and milestones on your own, you're actually going to find happiness through those accomplishments. I know that there's a lot of studies on that, but I can't really cite any because I don't know any off the top of my head, but it's been proven that when you challenge yourself and you're able to overcome any struggle that you had throughout the challenge or the task, you do feel rewarded and happy in the long run. So tip number 2 that I have for you is to stop multitasking. And so what I mean by that is complete one task at a time. We can and we are able to multitask, but with preventing burnout, it's best just to not do it at all. I know that there might be some multi-potentiates in here, and those are the kind of people that really thrive when they're bouncing from one topic to another topic to another topic. So there is a healthy way of doing it, and that would mean just writing your task list up and just following a schedule and following your goals. I mean, it's okay to stop focusing on one thing if you're starting to feel overwhelmed and start focusing on another. But, when you start to juggle way too much, mistakes can happen and burnout can happen. So focus on one task at a time and try not to worry or overthink about what other things are going on. Easier said than done. But I think another crucial point that I want to make is that you need to accept that you just can't do everything. Rome wasn't built in a day, and sometimes you just can't do everything that is on your list. And I would say a helpful tip here with employers is if you know that your employee is the kind of person that likes to go above and beyond and get everything done throughout the day and they work overtime, you really need to be more adamant about them sticking to their actual work hours, because it's shown that employees who work remotely tend to work more hours than when they would be in the office. So, you can help your employees with this simply just by reducing their time that they spend working and just kind of giving them a hard line stop. Hey, stop at 6 o'clock, please. Now, an example of multitasking that I have here is If you must stop midway to set up, if you must stop midway, say you're working on some sort of report or project, but you need to stop to like make lunch for your family, it's okay to set reminders to say, hey, finish this task in 30 minutes or something like that. And then the reminder can pop up on your computer and help you, or you can write it down. I tend to find that burnout happens when we store all the information in our head. It's a lot easier for us to either write it down, type it out, and just have those visual reminders, or those kinesthetic reminders, which is like through touch, to help put us back in the mode of, okay, I did my my family life here. Now it's time to get back into work mode. Okay, and tip number 3 I have is to learn how to time manage. Like I said, I know all these tips are pretty much no-brainers, but maybe I'll say something here today that really resonates with you and helps you feel inspired to try something a little bit different than what you're currently doing to help improve any kind of stress you're dealing with remote working. And so time management really applies to every aspect of your life: work life, family life, personal life. And studies show that working beyond 35 to 40 hours a week increases employee happiness. Now, Microsoft Teams, you can set personal reminders on your calendar to remind you of anything: birthdays, holidays, appointments, other family events. And it even helps you schedule time for yourself to take care of yourself, whether that's personal tasks like house cleaning or making an appointment. I think that taking breaks throughout this process of juggling everything that's going on and taking time for yourself is also important. And maybe you can learn how to time manage to really give yourself that 10-minute break that you need, every hour or so, whether that's doing exercises or meditating. Oops, just skipping ahead here. Now, I do have a bonus tip here, and it's the value of saying no. And I don't mean no as in saying a rude no. I mean, there are definitely more polite ways of saying no when, say, a coworker needs help with something and you just don't have the time for it, or the school needs a volunteer or something like that. You don't need to take on more than you can handle. And I know that there's perfectionists out there and people pleasers out there that really like to just say yes to everything because they need that, I don't want to say validation, but they just need that comfort in knowing that they can handle it. Everyone has experience, and so learning how to say no earlier on with things is just going to make life a lot easier for you. So I gave some examples of how to decline politely in the work setting. I am sorry, but I can't do that at the moment. Or no, I'm afraid I can't do that for you. Unfortunately, I'm not able to attend. That could be used for a meeting. I'm currently at capacity. You could also add, I'm not able to do that, but I know someone who can. Or maybe 2 weeks from now when my schedule's lightened up. You can always give other alternative options. You don't have to take things on immediately. So those are just some examples of different ways of saying no. So that was my bonus tip. So, that was it. It was pretty easy coffee talk for us today. And what's really nice is it was totally out of the software realm. We were able to discuss things that were not focused on software today, which is nice. I'm just going to check questions here. So one question I have popping in says, how can employees help create a better work-life balance? I'm sorry, how can employers help create? Okay, I did give the example earlier about maybe putting like a hard line on where people work overtime, have them maybe not work overtime, but you can also enforce taking breaks. I know that sometimes it's not a requirement for employees to take lunch, but maybe start enforcing that, say, no, I really think you should do that. Or work with your employees. If they're expressing they're not getting a good night's sleep, maybe change their schedule so they can wake up later in the day. Try things out with them. I think listening and trying to be understanding, especially during this time, can be pretty beneficial to you. I saw some research saying remote working has the most productivity compared to the office setting. So your employees are getting things done. You just need to trust them a little bit, especially whenever they are kind of asking you for help when it comes to avoiding any burnout. So yeah, that's all the questions that I have coming in right now. I'm going to go ahead and just talk about the rest of my presentation here. Right now we are on the 3 tips of improving remote work-life balance, but our next coffee talk is next Tuesday, and that's going to be what is the biggest problems Microsoft 365 users face. So please join me with that. That is free. You can sign up through LinkedIn or Eventbrite. And finally, just want to remind you, we do have a free trial of our Smarter SaaS product. This is available on Microsoft App Stores and Microsoft Marketplace for free download, so you can download it there, or you can check us out on our website, businesssoftwarecenter.com/free trial, and sign up through there. So yeah, just want to thank everyone for joining me today. Feel free to get in touch with me, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, or YouTube, and we'll see you next week. Thanks. Bye.